Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the September 26th, 2021 special edition of The Breast There Is, The Breast There Was, and The Breast There Ever Will Be Wrestling Podcast. As always, I am your host, Mikey B, WWE. And today's special podcast is going to be discussing tonight's WWE pay-per-view Extreme Rules. And this is the first time, I must say, in recent memory when on WWE.com, I'm looking at it right now, and today is the day of the pay-per-view event. But on WWE.com, they have a match card, and they don't add the words "so far" to it, so that's encouraging. It looks like we have a solid match card in place. And I even checked this yesterday, and it was the same thing. So kudos WWE for finally being on the ball with this. But that said, of course, the card is always subject to change, and who knows, they could always stick on a kickoff match or add an extra match to the main card. Never know, but all I can do as a predictor is give my predictions for the matches which they list on their website. And that said, this season of my podcast, I have been including kickoff matches in my prediction count. So essentially giving predictions for all matches they list. But there are no kickoff matches listed on this particular event, so I'm just going to proceed ahead with the 6 matches that they do have listed here at Extreme Rules. So the first match on the card is between Liv Morgan and Carmella in a singles bout. And this one, I feel Liv Morgan, they've been, I think, starting to give her a push. And rightfully so. The company does this routinely with different superstars, especially ones that have been around with the company for a few years. And a performer like Liv Morgan she was part of a faction before, and now they've branched her out into a singles competitor. And I think this is a match that's going to help give her a build up towards some title opportunities, in my opinion. Carmella's already been a champ, and I think that's why she's a good competitor to face Liv Morgan, because she's a legitimate, superstar. So I'm saying that Liv Morgan is going to be victorious over Carmella this evening, and giving Liv Morgan a needed boost on her pathway towards winning a WWE championship. So Liv Morgan's my prediction for the first match. The second match on the card is for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, with the champions of the Usos taking on the Street Profits. This is a feud which has now been really starting to get going, really starting to build up. Here's the thing, though, which is I've had this feeling for several months, and I feel that it's justified in what the company has been doing in the creative direction. But while they've been having the Usos aligned with their cousin Roman Reigns, and they've all been holding titles, that fact alone, that this faction has they're all title holders, I think is a good power dynamic that they don't want to disrupt yet. Certainly, at least I suspect it won't happen until closer to the time when Roman Reigns will eventually lose his belt. So I do think that this feud between the Usos and Street Profits is not anywhere near completion, and I think the Street Profits are definitely in line to win these belts again. I don't think that's going to be tonight, though. I do think the Usos are going to find some sort of a controversial way to be victorious and retain their belts. I really hope that WWE doesn't pull any results of disqualifications or countouts. One, because I think that's kind of a lame. I don't think any fans are ever thrilled with those decisions or those results in matches. And two, it a lot of times jeopardizes predictions when they decide to make those, kind of topsy-turvy predictions topsy-turvy results with because for instance, I think Usos are going to win and retain the belts in a dirty fashion, but I could easily see, because they're heels right now, them doing something like they're losing and then they get themselves disqualified just so they don't lose the belts, and therefore the victory might go to Street Profits. But again, I don't like delving into trying to predict when disqualifications or countouts happen. I think they're a stupid result for a match. So I'm just always going to predict how I think who the victor will be, and who will, at least in a case of title matches like this, who's certainly going to walk away with the belts. So I think the Usos are walking in with the SmackDown Tag Team belts, and they are walking out with them tonight. So the Usos are my pick for match number 2. The third match on the card is for the United States Championship, and it's a triple threat match. And we have champion Damian Priest taking on Jeff Hardy, taking on Sheamus. I personally suspect, since Damian Priest only quite recently won this United States Championship belt, that I don't see him dropping it yet. I think the fact that the WWE made this a triple threat match recently with the infusion of Jeff Hardy into the match, to me that is a little bit of a telltale sign that that's how Damian Priest will retain. And let me explain. Damian Priest won the belt over Sheamus at SummerSlam, I believe, and instead of having Damian Priest defeat Sheamus in a clean fashion, one-on-one, it's much easier to get a third party in there, in this case Jeff Hardy, and have a bit of a wild finish. And Sheamus, I could see getting kind of screwed. He might be looking to actually be victorious, but then I could see Jeff Hardy coming, disrupting Sheamus's victory, and then ultimately causing Sheamus and himself to lose. So regardless of how this match will unfold tonight, I do think Damian Priest is not going to drop the belt yet. I've never been an advocate for the company rewarding a performer or performers with a belt, especially ones that's the first time in their, like a major one for the first time in their career, and for them to strip it or remove it from them soon after. I think that's poor form, and I think that goes against everything, really a lot of things that the business is founded on, which is giving people their dues and their opportunities when they've been paying their dues, to let them, once they do reach a level of winning a championship, to let them have a run with it and see how the crowd responds, see how they do as a performer, or as performers in the case of a tag team match or tag team champions. But regardless, I think it's too soon to have Damian Priest lose it. The question remains, how long will he hold on to this belt? Because I do think Sheamus is certainly not going anywhere in the pursuit of regaining the United States Championship belt. So certainly a feud I can see continuing on with Sheamus at least, and maybe Jeff Hardy as well. But for prediction purposes, Damian Priest to retain the United States Championship is my prediction for that match. So moving on now to the fourth match. It's for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Champion Becky Lynch, who made a surprise return at SummerSlam in place of Sasha Banks to face Bianca Belair. She was victorious over Bianca Belair in something like 26 seconds or whatever the official record was for that evening. And kind of similarly with what I just said with Damian Priest. Actually, no, scratch that. Let me rephrase. Damian Priest and Becky Lynch are different in the sense that Damian Priest just won his first belt. Becky Lynch has won top titles already, and she's a bona fide top roster superstar. However, Becky Lynch, since her return, of course, everyone was pretty thrilled at SummerSlam to see her. It was unexpected, and not only was it her return unexpected, but her getting slotted into the women's SmackDown Women's title match, championship match, and winning over Bianca Belair was also quite stunning. So, since that happened, the company has really, I think, geared Becky Lynch to be a heel character, while Bianca Belair is the clear babyface, good girl, good guy, hero character. So, and when they do a role character change like this, making Becky Lynch quickly kind of reverting from babyface superhero status to heel bad guy bad girl status, I think it's bad form also to have her lose the belt so quickly. So Becky Lynch, now that she's a heel, is going to use some sort of a tactic, I believe, to be victorious over Bianca Belair and retain. But rest assured, this is a matchup and a feud that is not dying down anytime soon. Because there's no way that Bianca's going to lose in a controversial fashion, and this is just going to go away automatically. So this feud is definitely long from being over with. Let me assure you of that. So, but for the prediction tonight, Becky Lynch is my call to retain the SmackDown Women's Championship. Moving on to the fifth match of the night. It's now for the other Women's Championship on Raw, and it's champion Charlotte Flair taking on Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss, it's been quite some time since she's been a title holder, and of course, her character changed quite wildly last year. Was it last year? I'm trying to remember if it was at the start of this year or late last year. I suppose that's a bit irrelevant, but she's been, of course, aligned with the Fiend Bray Wyatt, that whole kind of character, and Bray Wyatt, of course, has not been around for a while. I'm not sure if he's injured or whatnot, but I think he was, and I think he's probably due back anytime soon. But regardless, it's been a while since Alexa Bliss has been a title holder, but she's a bona fide superstar champion. She's won the belt numerous times, and Charlotte Flair, of course, has won the belt even more amount of times, a lot of times. So I would certainly be happy with seeing a change here, and I just even think for the dynamic. I mean, you also have other great competitors on that show, like Rhea Ripley, for instance, who wants a title shot again. Nikki ASH. There's a number of women vying for this belt, but I think it would be more interesting, especially with ever since Alexa Bliss changed her character and she's not won a belt. I think it's time now. Give her the belt. She's probably going to win in a weird, controversial way too, but so be it. But yes, I think Alexa Bliss will win the Raw Women's Championship over Charlotte Flair this evening. So Alexa Bliss is my pick there. And now moving on to the final match of the night for the Universal Championship in a WWE Extreme Rules match, this championship match, and it's Roman Reigns, of course, the defending champion, taking on the Demon, Finn Balor. With all due respect to Finn Balor, because I do have a great deal of respect for him, I think he's a tremendous wrestler. There's really I am really nothing negative or to criticize about him as a wrestler and performer. Roman Reigns hasn't lost this belt since SummerSlam of last year. So we're talking now 13 months of Roman Reigns holding on to this belt. And in that time, he's been, certainly the company's been gearing him to be the top heel of the company. And they've even built a faction around him with his cousins, and they're all title holders now. And furthermore, Roman Reigns, they already advertised on SmackDown. I can't recall if it happened also on this previous SmackDown on 2 days ago, but the week before they advertised a title match at some upcoming pay-per-view Crown Jewel with Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. And that's the thing, Brock Lesnar made his dramatic return in recent months and hasn't even come for a title match yet. So that's coming. And again, I'm not even sure when Crown Jewel is supposed to be, but whenever it is, it's going to be Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. And that's, again, all due respect to Finn Balor. The guy is deserving of a title. He, of course, left the main program here of WWE and went down to NXT for several years. And I don't know the reason officially, but my guess is because he wasn't thrilled with the creative at the top level here. The fact that he's come back after a few-year absence, back to the main program, I have to get a sense that the guy came back with the understanding that he is going to get some title opportunities and hopefully a run with the title, because he was the very first person to win the Universal Championship when they added it back, 3 years ago or so. But then he had to drop it due to an injury. So he's never won the top title since that. And he's certainly deserving, but unfortunately that's not going to happen tonight. I do hope for his sake they keep him in the title hunt and the title picture over the next several months, especially as WWE on the calendar is heading into really starting to get into the exciting time when Survivor Series happens in November, and then Royal Rumble in January, and then the build up to WrestleMania. It's really when things kind of pick up steam, because up until Survivor Series and since since WrestleMania earlier this year, the only one of the big four events that takes place is SummerSlam. So then when you have 3 more of the original big four events coming in like a 5 or 6 month span, then it gets pretty damn exciting. So I do hope for Finn Balor's sake that he'll remain in this title picture and eventually win at some point in the next half year or so. But to me, this is kind of my luck pick for the night, because again, not only because they've been advertising Roman Reigns versus Lesnar for Crown Jewel with a belt, but it's just not time yet that they're going to drop it from Roman Reigns after holding it for 13 months. Him and the Usos, I believe, will still be title holders at the end of tonight, and they're going to continue on this way at least for a while yet. So there you have it. Just a quick recap. I'll run down just match by match who the victors will be. So I have Liv Morgan, the Usos, Damian Priest, Becky Lynch. I have Alexa Bliss and Roman Reigns. So I guess Alexa Bliss is the only title change I foresee happening tonight at Extreme Rules. So anyways, there you have it, folks. Hope you liked what you listened to. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel below. And hope it's a good show tonight. But, again, things are now starting to hopefully build towards the exciting part of the WWE calendar coming up. So hopefully tonight's show is not a snooze fest. So again, thanks very much for listening, and see you next time.